I think she should rewrite the book to my vision because I think it's pretty good.
You're not gonna be able to tell these are bats on my cheek.
Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. We've got a really cool video idea. It's an old concept, one that even I've done a couple times. I'm here with my beautiful boyfriend Aaron, and he is going to guess the plot of books that I hand him. I picked a few out, and he doesn't really read, so we're going to hand him a book. He's gonna guess the plot based on the cover. It's gonna be really fun.
So obviously my lovely assistant has already explained to you what this video is going to be. It's an oldie but a goodie when it comes to booktube. Like he said, I have done this twice before. I'll link those down below if you want to watch them. They're pretty old. I think one of them is like from 2016 or 2015 and the other one's from like 2017. It was one of my drunk literacies in the beginning. In honor of it being October, I decided to pick spooky themed books. So these are a lot of like thrillers and paranormal type books. I won't say which is what, so you can still be left up for your own creative license to try to decide what they're about. But I guess we can just go ahead and get right into it. So you should recognize the title of this one. This is one that I have talked about before.
Yes. Yes, it's The Diviners. You have the tattoo of the eye.
There it is.
There it is, yeah. The hint that I'm getting from the title is The Diviners, which can mean one of two things. Either the main group of people or like the secret society or whatever class it is. They either are like holy angels, like some kind of radiant figure, or they divine things. So they like are fortune tellers, or they can like... Hello, Billy. So I am going to say that The Diviners is about a secret society of fortune tellers and or mentalists who are able to intuit information through supernatural means that no one else would be able to come up with. And they form a sort of detective team. And the reason this is spooky Halloween themed is because they use it to go after criminals.
Okay.
And so this is like the case of the year. You know, it's kind of like adult Scooby-Doo, but also because they have superpowers, the threats that they deal with are more serious. So it's not Old Man Jenkins, it is like a werewolf.
Okay, so you weren't that far off on the fact that there's a team of people with powers.
Okay.
There are. So, but it takes place in 1920s New York. I don't know if you can notice like the Art Deco vibe. We have a bunch of teenagers living in 1920s New York, and they have powers. And so in this first book...
So it was kids. I was right about that part.
But in this first book, there's a ghost named Naughty John who's murdering people.
And is he actually a ghost?
He is.
So it's not Old Man Jenkins. The monster is actually a monster. Another point. Get it.
So
tally.
honestly, you basically got it.
I got it.
We can end it there. You basically got it.
No, I know. I actually want to know the rest.
But in this one, our main character Evie can like read objects, and so her uncle owns like a museum of oddities. And so when the murders start happening, there is obvious like occultness around it. So they call on her uncle to be kind of an aide to the police, and she touches one of the objects at the crime scene, and then she gets a flash, and then from there she makes friends with other people with powers, and then they kind of like get to the bottom of like what's going on with Naughty John, and so it's a big old spooky thing. A group
of kids solving a mystery with superpowers, and the stakes are high.
Yeah, I think you got it.
I'm gonna count that as a win.
So the next book that we have is No Exit by Taylor Adams.
Okay, this one gives me more to work with. So does the back have anything? The back has words. I'm not allowed to read the words. This is the perspective of the driver's seat of a car, like looking forward because the road's lit up with the headlights and everything's dark behind it, and then you've got no exit lit up. So I'm going to say this is a story about someone getting kidnapped and put in a car and driven to an isolated location, but a lot of the plot of the book takes place as they're in the car dealing with that inner turmoil of where am I going, what's gonna happen.
You were kind of on point with that. Okay, so one thing you didn't notice is that this is all snow, so it's snowy.
Okay, in winter time, that's fair.
Okay,
I thought that was just like a watercolor like photo kind of blurry stylized thing, but I see the snow. I see it.
No, okay, but here's the crazy part. So it actually is about a kidnapping.
Of course it is.
Our main character Darby is driving through a snowstorm to get to her mom in the hospital, but because of the blizzard she has to stop, and so she has to stop at a rest stop. So she is like stranded at the rest stop. So she's not stranded in the car, but you were on to it with like it being like a kind of a stranded story where there's no exit. But she goes into the rest stop. There's a couple of other people there. She goes out to make a phone call outside because she wants to get a signal, and then she sees a little girl in a van and she doesn't know whose van it is.
This is that story. You told me about this one, but you didn't tell me the title.
Oh, yeah. But see,
that's cheating.
Okay, why is that cheating? I didn't know we were going to do this video. Also,
cheating.
It's because you didn't retain.
You never told me the title.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember I was telling you because that was like a huge twist, and I was like, ah. Honestly, off to a really good start. You kind of guessing things.
Oh, and I do know that the twist of this is...
Next up, we have They Never Learn by Layne Fargo.
We've got a big ornate gate on the cover, some like dried leaves, but it's all very red, so it gives blood, it gives hell. That is the house of like an old rich person.
Okay.
This is a very like stupid kids get off my lawn story, but like taken to an nth degree. So this takes place in like a mid-sized town, and a lot of kids enjoy running around, playing, being rambunctious, doing as kids do, you know. Some of them lean a little bit more on the ne'er-do-well side than others. They keep like playing in the lawn and messing up this one like rich person's house, and they don't like that, so they start murdering the kids.
Oh.
They Never Learn is like, no matter how, like, I tried telling them to get off the lawn, I tried like letting my dogs chase them to scare them. I tried doing all kinds of stuff, but these kids, they never learn. So I'm gonna have to kill them.
You're so far off on this one.
I think my version is probably better, but I'm down to hear what this author thinks the story should be about.
So this gate is to, I believe, like a college campus.
Okay, okay.
So in this book, we have a college professor named Scarlett, and she's a serial killer, but she only kills men who have not been punished for their crimes. So she sort of doles out justice. So typically she'll kill someone who like sexually assaulted a young girl but then didn't like face the consequences. So it's a lot of commentary on like rape culture and different things like that.
Okay.
But the thing is, with this school year, she is meticulously planning like her biggest kill yet, but suddenly all of the school administration starts to piece together that all of these deaths that had been labeled as suicides are like not really adding up. So they bring in like an FBI agent, investigator. I don't know if she's from the FBI, but they bring in this woman to investigate. But okay, alongside this plot line of Scarlett, there is a college freshman named Carly who is just starting out in college, and she is kind of naive about the world.
Like from iCarly.
Sure. The next book we have is In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife.
The cover has scissors, not a knife. So this is a book about lies and deception. Okay. The ribbon represents the birthday gifts that never were. The knife is for cutting cake. This is a story about a child whose family never celebrated his or her birthday. He, she, they always had dreams about getting their revenge on those, like, their parents who never threw a good birthday party, their classmates who never came to their birthday party, and just going on. This is like less of a horror thriller and more of just a slasher book, as this child exacts total vengeance on the world, stabbing people with a cake cutting knife who did not come to his birthday.
So this book is about a group of friends who met in college, and right before they graduate, one of them is murdered, and it sort of fractures the friend group. And so now we're 10 years later, and they're going to a college reunion. And so one of them has decided that he wants to get to the bottom of what happened. And so there's sort of two timelines. There's the one where they're at the reunion, but then there's also the memories of when they were in college and how their friend group kind of came together. And so it's you just sort of like piecing the story together, like who did it. And it's sort of like a whodunit moment.
Book number 3, 4,
5.
5. Wow, time flies when you're reading.
You're not reading.
I'm kind of reading.
No,
I'm reading the covers. I'm divining the covers.
Okay.
Night Film, Marisha, Pessl, Night Film, author of Special Topics in Calamity Places, Marisha. That is the full title. We've got a woman on the cover who is deeply covered in shadows, wearing what looks like a red jacket, looking at us, but her eyes are covered, so we can't really see what she's saying or feeling. That doesn't give me a ton to go off of, but the title, Night Film, it leads me in a few directions. The main subject matter is a film, so it could be a sex tape or a snuff film, something night film, a dark, gritty film. I think ultimately this woman sees something that she shouldn't have. And she tries to figure out what to do with this information because, like, oh, this is evil, I have to report it, I have to find something, but the cops are on her side. And I've decided that the woman on the cover is the main antagonist, like the big boss bitch in charge of the bad guy empire.
Okay, so no. Ashley Cordova is found dead in a warehouse, and our main character Scott is a journalist that sort of fell from grace because he went on national TV and he accused Ashley's father, Cordova, of doing a bunch of crimes. Like, he's a very famous film director who makes horror films. And his horror films are underground because they're so violent and whatever that they're not very mainstream. So like, if you're a Cordova fan, you've like gone underground to like see his films and stuff. So like, they're kind of like taboo, like a snuff film.
So I was kind of right there.
Yeah.
Like there is like some taboo, dark film that shouldn't be seen.
Yeah.
I just kind of took it in a literal like evidence of a crime as opposed to art that like maybe shouldn't exist.
He believes that she was murdered, and so then the whole book is him trying to get to the bottom of what happened because he's convinced that Cordova's like a bad guy because like his films are like very eerie, very dark in a way that like doesn't make any sense. And like, people who've worked on the film sets are always like very like secretive, and like everybody says different things about Cordova, so it's very like, he's just a very enigmatic figure. And so it's actually a mixed media book as well, so you get a lot of like websites and like different things. I would make you read this one because it was one of my favorites when I first read it in like 2016, but I don't know if I could see you with the attention span of a book that's over 600 pages.
Yeah.
But that pretty much brings us to the end of this list. I feel like you did a pretty good job.
I think so. I think the first two, you know, I did okay with. You know, the No Exit and the Diviners actually gave you something to work with. The others, I made up my own story, but, you know, the artists for those covers made up their own stories too.
Let me know down below if there's any other collabs that you want me to do with Aaron. We can do more things. I am probably going to force him to read some books in the near future, and then maybe...
Please come up with any other idea. I beg you.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Have a beautiful day. I love you.
You're all beautiful.
You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.